I don't know you. I don't know you. What I told you through these blood. There's something to Good afternoon and welcome back. Hope you had an enjoyable lunch. So, as per our usual opening, we do have a couple of community announcements. Can we thank you for visiting the GAT booth? And as you are aware, there was a competition to win a couple of bottles of wine. And I just changed the names to Mick Wainwright, but anyway. The wine winners are Kevin Hartley and C. Thomas. If you want your wine, please see John Muller and he will give you those bottles of wine. Party somewhere tonight. Oh, we have a big party tonight anyway. Second one, the past international presidents, past international directors and the past council chair function this afternoon is from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and that is in the Garden Kitchen Bar. Garden Kitchen and Bar, I should say, rather than a kitchen bar. That sounds pretty good, actually. So those two functions, that function is on tonight, and we have the wine winners, which are, they'll be happy. Also, Graham's been getting some requests about the photos. If you want the photos, please just see Graham, give him your email address and he'll email the links to those photos for you. Okay, so you'll be able to get hold of them. Now, is Dave McKenzie in the audience? No? I've been given a question for him. So he can have it on notice. I'll read it out. We understand that the dress code for tonight's function is Gold Coast casual. So the question is Dave McKenzie going in thongs, budgie smugglers and a singlet? They are thongs on your feet. So I thought it was a very interesting question, but unfortunately he's not here to answer the question. What we'll do is I'll give you some more information about tonight's function, the gala dinner, at our next break, at the start of the next break and before we finish tonight. Okay, could I please ask past council chair Tony Rooney, OAM, to come up and introduce our next guest speaker.
Thank you. This is a pleasure to be here to introduce our next speaker. Unaccustomed I am to being with these microphones. You'll excuse me if I don't get a lot of things right. I must acknowledge our chairperson, Steve. Thank you for giving us an opportunity today with this particular talk that we're having. And I must welcome AP. It's nice to see you again. and of course our past international president, Barry. My role today is to introduce you to Professor Mark von Eaststein, AO, BIO. Our foundation, your foundation, the Lions for ALCCRF, in 1921, the trustees of the Australian Lions Childhood Cancer Research Foundation approved funding for the Griffith University Institute for Glycomics project that focuses on sarcoma. Today, I have much pleasure in introducing the team leader of that project, Professor Mark von Eaststein, AO. Professor Mark is a fellow of both the Australian Academy of Science and the Australian Academy of Health and Medical Science, and a joint recipient of the prestigious Australian Prize in 1996. He was also appointed as an Officer of the Order of Australia in 2019 and has won numerous national and international awards during his career. Professor Mark led the team responsible for the design of synthesis and biological evaluation of anti-influenza drug Relenza, which has been approved for the treatment of influenza worldwide since 1999. This discovery is considered to be a significant outcome and flagship in glaucoma therapeutic and antiviral drug development in the last century. Professor Mark is the director of the Griffith University Institute for Glycomics, which is the only one of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere and one of a few in the world. The Institute's research collaborates with leading scientists around the world, and it's a global, it's a global project. And today, Mark is here to give you a lot of information on where we are with his projects and what it's actually, the aim of the project is to do and the outcomes. And he's had so many publications. I think the publications are going to about 240. And so I'd really like to invite Mark to come up here today and to give you a really good idea of what your foundation and you have been doing. So I welcome you to the microphone, and I'll turn it over to you and you can explain those other words that I couldn't get out better.
Thank you, Tony, for your kind words of introduction. Yes, glycomics is not a trivial term, I must admit, and certainly some of the terms that Tony was rehearsing are also not so trivial. Look, may I first of all thank you for the kind invitation to come and present today. It's a rarity that I have so many people in one room from a fantastic organization like Lions International. And if you know me at all, I love talking. And I love talking passionately about science, whether it's our science or science anywhere in the world. Because at the end of the day, it's our only hope in fighting diseases. Medical research is our only hope in fighting diseases. And so today I thought what I would try to do is not drill down on the science, but talk to you a little bit about my institute, what we established here, right on here on the Gold Coast, actually. So it's not just thongs and singlets and budgie smugglers. There's very good scientific infrastructure. And indeed how we connect internationally as well with the world and trying to solve intractable diseases. So cancers, as we know, is certainly an area where you'd think after how many years have us medical researchers been working in the space of cancer, and still, whilst major advances have been made over a number of years, and we know that, we appreciate that, we still do not have a series of magic bullets that says that is now a thing of the past. So for me, that speaks to, and I was saying it a little earlier on, it tells me that whilst we are making major advances and major breakthroughs, there's still a few pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that we haven't brought into focus. We need to bring that into our lens to be able to combine it with all of the other knowledge that we collectively as scientists have discovered. Now, I didn't educate myself on starting the slideshow, so do I do that or do you do that? Could somebody start that slideshow for me, please? I see it there, but I don't see it there. It's only on there? Brilliant. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I can see it here, so that's okay. I imagine that I am doing this. Brilliant. So the Institute for Glycomics was established in the year 2000. I moved up from the Deep South, from Melbourne, to specifically establish this institute, because in this country, and indeed in the Southern Hemisphere, and in fact at that time in the world, there was no singular or single established institute that brought the disciplines of science together, chemistry, biology, physics, computational science, under one roof to tackle diseases from the perspectives of glycomics. And I'm going to tell you what glycomics is in a short second. So that's what we established in the year 2000. When I moved up with about 5 people. Now there's over 200 folk in my institute in the year 2023. So this is where we are on the Gold Coast. And isn't it beautiful weather today? I didn't think it was going to be like this outside today, but I'm so pleased for our visitors outside of Queensland that it is beautiful weather. So right here on the Gold Coast, what we have established, sorry, I keep on looking there. What we have established, as you can see there, is a health and knowledge precinct that wraps around our university, that's Griffith University, with the 2 major hospitals that we've got in the same precinct, as well as if I call it like this, an industry park, where we attract in various industry partners, and it's growing very significantly. And that co-location of those assets in medical research is phenomenal. Why? Because we have the capacity of working then with clinicians. I'm not a clinician, I'm a simple PhD scientist, but I work with many clinicians. We have clinicians in our institute that are at the pointy end dealing with patients on a day-to-day basis. And so bringing all of those fine folk together into a room to tackle diseases, broadly speaking, really accelerates outcomes. We don't want a discovery in 50 years' time. We want it within 10 years, right? We really want to be advancing science. And so my education led me to believe that bringing teams of researchers together that tackle things from the basic science point of view, those folk that are actually translating the research and working with clinicians to go into human clinical trials, and eventually industry, because we need industry, obviously, to push it to market, the drugs or vaccines that are being discovered, is a good thing. It's a melting pot. It's a melting pot. And it's a great training ground for our researchers, our young researchers particularly. So we're right here on the Gold Coast, and in fact, only 15 minutes away from this site right here. If you have the chance of visiting the campus, if you do, please do. If you want to come to the Institute, let me know. I'm more than happy to show you around. So our vision right from the early days was to establish a vibrant and preeminent glycomics research institute that was specifically geared towards delivering new diagnostics, new drugs, and new vaccines to treat a range of conditions, particularly diseases that are intractable, both in the infectious disease space as well as in cancer. So as I mentioned earlier on, starting from a handful of folk that were brave and moved with me from Melbourne to the Gold Coast, we now have over 200 clinical and basic research scientists in the Institute. And what is really nice after 23 years having established this institute, we really now have got international traction as well as national traction, where folk that are interested in the way we tackle disease problems come to us irrespective of the country, from China, from Europe, from the US, Victoria, New South Wales, etc., and the Latin Americas as well, because of our expertise, which is unique in the country. Far too often I get the question, what's your point of difference? Why are you different to the Walter and Eliza Hall in Melbourne? Why are you different from QIMR and Berghofer in Brisbane, etc.? And I'm always delighted to be able to say these are the institutes that we work with, and as well as others, because we have a unique expertise in this nation. So we're not duplicating. That's critical, because you find folk that are investing, and through your foundation, you've invested in us. That's how we look at it. We don't want to waste 1 cent of the money that's provided to us from such a foundation and duplicate some other work that somebody else is doing in the country. We want to make sure every dollar that you invest is bang for buck. Our translational research capacity is critical as well. So within our institute and on our campus, we have the capacity to do discovery science, as you can see there, discovery research. So we have facilities that are oriented in that space that then enable us to do preclinical development, so we can actually take our vaccines and drugs into the next level of a bioresource facility to better understand how well do these things work in animals before we march into, as you can see there, manufacture on the occasion of biologicals like vaccines. We can manufacture on campus, and we've got a malaria vaccine candidate that we manufacture on campus, and then we put it into humans in a phase 1 facility. That's rather unique in this country. But we purposefully did this because we wanted to be a translational research institute. We wanted to make sure that we deliver new medicines. So this is glycomics.
We think of sugars or carbohydrates. We often think of the simple kinds in our diet, like glucose and starch. But did you know that every cell in our bodies is decorated with a vast and complex array of sugars? These sugars on our cells are crucial for cells to communicate with one another and the environment. Our bodies need these sugars, known to scientists as glycans, to stay healthy and to fight disease. In fact, glycans have been found on every type of known organism on the planet. We can think of glycans as a type of sugar language that our cells can use to send and receive messages. Without this sugar language, the human body would not function. What many people don't know is that many diseases take advantage of the glycans in our body, resulting in major health problems and sometimes even death. At Griffith University's Institute for Glycomics, our scientists are working to better understand the role of glycans in the development of diseases so that we can better diagnose, treat, and prevent diseases such as cancers and diseases caused by deadly pathogens such as parasites, bacteria, and viruses. Let's take a virus like influenza, which causes the flu, as an example. The influenza virus uses a protein on its surface to latch onto glycans. The flu can become dangerous when it spreads to tissues in the body, and that's why it's important to treat this virus as early as possible or prevent infection completely. Proteins on the surface of the virus latch onto glycans. Once bound, the virus then infiltrates the cell and begins to replicate. Virus progeny then emerge from the infected cell and seek to infect other nearby cells in our body, ultimately overwhelming the body with infection. Researchers at the Institute for Glycomics focus on the role that these sugars play in disease, and using that knowledge, invent new drugs, vaccines, and diagnostics to treat, prevent, or diagnose diseases in the hope to save millions of lives globally. The Institute for Glycomics, fighting diseases of global impact.
So glycomics is the study of sugars, particularly as it relates to diseases like cancer. And so I'll switch directly to cancer now for a second. Over the past, I guess now 25 years or more, we have been playing detective to try and understand how healthy cells present these glycans, these sugars. And indeed, when cancers appear, irrespective of the cancer, the changes that occur, and changes do occur. Changes occur from different stages of tumors as well. Understanding how those changes are occurring gives us opportunities to look at the discovery of novel drugs, because we can look at new drug targets. We can also think about actually developing a vaccine against a particular glycan that is unique to that cancer signature. So a lot of our efforts really are looking hard at the makeup of those glycans and the changes that occur when cancer, unfortunately, is established. So these are very nice cartoon type slides, which I quite commonly use. Yeah, here's a real image now of what the glycans, the sugars, look like on cells. So you see that nice circle there? That nice circle is actually a blood vessel. And you see these black protrusions coming out from the surface of that blood vessel. That black matter are all sugars connected to the cells associated with that blood vessel. So when you look at that and you see that nice rectangle, red rectangle image that brings up that sugar layer, that candy floss layer, you can see it's enormous. So when you think about, for example, cancer cells that are metastasizing, spreading around the body through typically blood vessels, it doesn't take too much to think, well, they must be continuously coming into contact with those glycans. So when the tumor cell that's moving around the body wants to lodge somewhere and then grow again at a secondary site or a distal site, as we commonly term it, it has to work out how to latch onto those glycans and then move into the new environment and start new blood flows, etc. So understanding those mechanics, those processes, gives us the opportunity of saying, how do we stop it? How do we stop actually that cancer cell moving around and lodging in a new domain? So that's what we do. So you could imagine that the technologies then that are necessary to decipher that language, to decipher that code, to break the code of cancer are pretty intense and very, very costly. So in the Institute, we have a range of cancer programs going on right now, some that we've already published in, particularly in leukemia. I'm not going to dwell on the detail there, but you can see that interesting colorful map there. That colorful map actually is informing us about sugar changes in leukemia cells, particularly acute lymphoblastic leukemia on this occasion, a childhood cancer. And understanding those changes gives us valuable insight, again, to identify new targets to tackle acute lymphoblastic leukemia, particularly when children go into remission. So that study that we published, there is a reference there somewhere, that we published a couple of years ago now, really informed us about what's happening to make that particular cancer drug resistant when the child unfortunately comes out of remission. So when a child typically gets leukemia, mostly there's a good cure available. It's when they go into remission and then fall out of remission is where significant loss of life occurs. So we're particularly focused on drug-resistant tumors on that occasion. Glioblastoma, so a lot of brain tumors, as we've been hearing in the news more recently with childhood brain tumors, a big issue. And so we've got now technologies that we can intimately look at, almost like looking through a microscope at the glycan changes in these brain tumors. And as was mentioned by Tony in introductory remarks, sarcoma is where the foundation, Lions Foundation, has really helped us in establishing us profiling sarcoma, particularly childhood sarcoma, and that's what we're doing right now. Sarcoma is very much an underestimated killer. And what you may not appreciate is, in fact, as you can read there, is that there is over 70 types of sarcoma. Of course, we can't tackle 70 types of sarcoma in one go. So it's a very important childhood cancer. So as you read there, over 20%, in fact, of childhood cancers are indeed sarcoma. And the real issue is that this is a cancer that's almost for every organ in the body, and that's scary in lots of ways. It can start absolutely anywhere. And so this is just now some of the soft tissue and the bone sarcomas that are known. So you can see it can actually commence anywhere. So that's pretty scary. It's a cancer for every organ virtually. So the problems, here's the challenges that are being faced right now. Lack of early detection capability. That's something we need to be able to solve rapidly. In fact, we hope in a handful of years through the support of the Lions Foundation. The clinical management of, in fact, patients that are coming in with sarcomas. And the big problem is that it's such a mixed bag. The heterogeneity, we term it the heterogeneity, the mix of cell types in sarcomas is very challenging. And indeed, as you can read there also, the mere fact that typically these tumors can be very insensitive to current treatments. So what we're trying to do, of course, then to address those challenges is to try, as we do for every cancer, try to get an early blood diagnostic that says, okay, we know not only that you've got sarcoma, but what type of sarcoma you've got, which then we hope will aid us in being able to inform the clinicians about the personalized treatment of an individual that will hopefully assist them in treating that particular sarcoma in that particular patient. Importantly, this is an international project. So we formed an alliance, as you must do. You've got to work with the best. So you know that I'm not a clinician. So we have to work with those fine pediatric clinicians that are actually dealing with those patients on a day-to-day basis. So we have a hospital in Uruguay, and many of you would know the Chris O'Brien Lifehouse in Sydney that has a very fine program in sarcoma. And so the interplay, again, between the basic science and those clinical researchers is critical for us to be able to work together to find the solutions that we desperately need to find. Just checking on my time. I've got a few minutes left, so that's good news. Otherwise, I know what I'm going to get. Okay. So we take that integrated approach very, very seriously. There's no point in us basic scientists running off in one particular direction whilst the clinicians are thinking something quite different. So working together, we hope we can address the challenges that I just mentioned on the previous slide. For your information, the projects that we're starting with in sarcoma are with rhabdosarcoma and fibrosarcoma, both very significant sarcomas in kids, unfortunately. You can see rhabdo is more hitting the muscle, and on this occasion in the arm, and fibrosarcoma in the bone domain in the context of fibroblasts. And so these are very prevalent in pediatric populations, certainly prevalent in the collections that we have historically available to us now through Chris O'Brien Lifehouse and the Perez Scrimini in Uruguay, but also the ongoing collections from new patients that are unfortunately coming in. So my researchers, I'm the director of the Institute for Glycomics, so my job is to raise money to support the research that my fine and talented researchers are doing. So the kit that we've now bought over many years. Looks something like this. Yeah, you can see it there. And proudly sponsored, by the way, by the Australian Cancer Research Foundation. We won a major grant to get the equipment that we needed to do imaging through that microscope lens of looking at various cancer cells. So it's a unique facility in the world. It's important to tell you it's a unique facility in the world in the collection of apparatus and the talent that we've got, and is highly used by individuals right around the world. So we have many collaborators through Europe and the US that send students and staff for training to work with us in imaging their various cancers. So here's a DIPG you may have heard of in the news very recently. It's a brain tumor, unfortunately, in young kids. And so we've got a major program. And so I just didn't want to go into the detail here, but this is the imagery that we see in those beautiful colors. So we get a biopsy on a slide, as you can see on one part there. We process it through a series of techniques and then effectively put it on this fancy microscope. It's not a microscope, it's actually a mass spectrometer, but I won't go into the detail about that. And we get images like you see here with very intense colors. And we can interpret those intense colors because they're associated with particular glycans. So we can actually map where the tumor is, what stage the tumor is at, and how we might actually tackle that. So you can see a reference that's all blue, there's no tumor. In the middle, you can see where there is tumor present, and then post-treatment, if I recall rightly. So the technology that we have available now, compared to even 5 years ago, tremendously different. So when we say, yes, we can find out new information, you can believe that we can find out new information that we know will work very well with other bits of information that come in from other areas. You've all heard of genomics, I'm sure. So genomics, as you know, revolutionized our capacity to understand changes in cancers, even in drug-resistant cancers. So there's information that's coming all the time. What we do now is that we multi-layer that information of genomics with our glycomics and proteomics and lipidomics. And that's the modern way of the world in medical research, that you are taking all of that information and getting a holistic view of tumors. And remember, I did start by saying that it's surprising in many ways that we haven't really solved cancer yet. And there must be missing bits in the jigsaw puzzle, pieces in the jigsaw puzzle. And so we believe that that multi-layered approach in bringing all of the information together will lead to fantastic outcomes. And that's what we want to do at the end of the day. We want to be able to diagnose patients, obviously, then with research and discovery, translating that into giving precision diagnosis and treatment for patients, on this occasion by support in the sarcoma sense. So that's the international team that we've now established. And you could imagine that it takes time in part to get human ethics approvals to start research, which are all in place now. So I'm very excited to say that the sarcoma project is well underway now. And so we are starting to see then, with ethics approval, the specimens arrive for us to start to play that detective work to give us the information that we need to say we understand what's going on in terms of the changes in those two types of sarcoma that I mentioned. So with that, I'm going to stop. I think I've made it on time. I have by 1 minute. I don't get a flower. Most importantly, I do thank you for your generous support, because without your support, whilst we win money from the government's agencies, etc., you probably don't know that 90% of researchers are not winning money because the budget simply isn't there. 90% of researchers are not winning money. And so there's a lot of people leaving medical research now as a consequence. I hope that changes in this country. Thank you.
Could I ask Council Chair Steve to come up?
What a great presentation. It's great to see the value that our foundations are providing, not only to what we can do in support of our work here, in medical research in Australia, but how that reacts and intercedes with the work that's being done around the world. And it's great to see the work that Professor Mark and his team are doing here right on the Gold Coast, and certainly working well with others. And that is in no small part thank you to the great work of our Australian Lions Childhood Cancer Research Foundation. And it's something that we should be very, very proud of. And as Lions, absolutely, we should continue to support it. And when you see that being done, why wouldn't you support it? So, Professor Mark, thank you for coming along and being our guest and speaking to us. Thank you for the great work you're doing, and thank you for the presentation today. Let's come over here, though. So, on behalf of everybody here, I'd like to present you with my banner as Chairman of Australian Lions Australia. Thank you. Very good. Thank you.
I didn't know one of our flowers could be so scary. Thank you for that and that well-timed speech. Now, can I please ask past International President Barry Palmer to come up and introduce our next guest.
Council Chairman Steve and Third International Vice President AP, friends, conventioneers all, let me assure you the Vice President is not frightened of flowers. He's big enough to knock them back. This afternoon, I would just like to introduce you to the Vice President a little bit differently, more personal. I'm not going to talk about all the positions he's held to get to where he is. You can assume he's held every position there is. I'm not going to talk about the awards and the recognitions because he has achieved them all, including the highest one, the Ambassador of Goodwill. I talk about the man that's going to lead this organisation in a few years' time, the humanitarian that he is, the analyst that he is, and the number cruncher that he is. Because he's all of that, and I think probably the best way to describe that is telling you a couple of personal incidences that we had together. But before I do that, I also want to recognise past International Director Sangeeta, who was working with him. Sangeeta was the chairman of one of my committees when I was president. I served as a director with her father, so she's known in India as my daughter. Well, my eldest daughter, first daughter. I have 3 daughters in India. She's the first one. But AP is well supported by Sangeeta. He is also a family man with 2 children. But the humanitarian, I had a dream when I was president that I would start a microfinance business in India supported by LCIF to allow the rural women of India who had no opportunities to earn money but were living in poverty. So I went to AP and said, AP, this is what I want to do. In a very short time, I got a message to say it's set up and ready to go. And today, I've just grasping at old figures, over 20,000 people have benefited from that small little start of $100,000, allowing these women to be able to run their own business and earn money for their family. And when you sit in their huts on a milk crate on a dirt floor and you ask them, what difference has this made to your family? They will, without exception, say, I could educate my children. And that's all to AP. He was the one that put it together and he made it happen. That's the humanitarian side of AP. He's a great leader. He's a listener. Today we had the meeting with our second Vice District Governors-elect. He's learnt a lot. They've learnt a lot. It's the first meeting he's had with his second vice governors-elect. They are the first. And because he's here, he was able to do that. So it set them on a path of understanding their president and him understanding them, which is more important to him. You are more important to him because that's the sort of man that he is. Lions of MD 201, would you please put your hands together and give a rousing welcome to our incoming third Vice President, Ryan A.P. Singh.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Past President Barry, for your kind and generous words. Past President Barry has always been a source of inspiration for me and for many others around the world. He opens up those avenues of leadership, encourages individuals to continue to serve, to work in teams by his inimitable style, and continues to provide leadership to Lions in all constitutional areas. Friends, it's such a pleasure to be here today. But then before I start, for whoever's holding that red rose in your hand, I think information needs to go to you that the 20 minutes that were allocated for International Director Tim have also been allotted to me. So don't bring that rose up so early. So, you know, I've got enough time here. Thank you, my friends. Let me first of all congratulate the Lions, the leadership, and everybody here in this convention. And at whatever level you are working, because the most important level definitely is that we are all Lions in this wonderful organization, for what you have decided and resolved in MD 201. It was about a few weeks ago that we came across a posting on the Facebook. The posting that said that the Lions of this great multiple districts have decided to move to the membership of 30,000 by 2030 and 50,000 by 2050. It was not just a simple announcement. There was also a document attached which contained the signatures of all members of the Council of Governors. We have heard many such comments being made across the entire world, in all multiple districts perhaps, about the need to grow to serve, to be able to grow so that we can perform, so that we can reach out the need-based service to our communities more effectively and in a more robust manner. But an announcement of this nature, where the entire council puts its own reputation up there, exposes itself, and says, we are accepting this challenge and doing it voluntarily. Congratulations for having done that. You have been courageous. You have, in fact, let me tell you, showed the way to the rest of the world. For what was done in MD 201 ultimately led to a few discussions at the international leadership level, that if the Lions of MD 201 can do it, why not the entire world? Why not the entire global leadership? As a result of which, let me share with you this piece of knowledge that you could well expect an initiative of Lions Clubs International to be rolled out soon, wherein the entire association is going to pledge to reach the much talked about, the much dreamt of figure of 1.5 million within a certain time frame. Your initial step and your showing the way was extremely instrumental there. And as we move on with this great initiative across the entire world, whose announcement would come in a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, by our Honorable International President, and we will wait for the official announcement till then, I'm sharing this with you because you are the individuals who set that entire process of thinking into motion. As we do this, one thought that crosses my mind is that who can make this happen? Whether it is MD 201 Australia or whether it is the entire world. Can any international president or a group of executive officers make that happen? Is it possible for them to be able to influence, to be able to work with 50,000 clubs in 8 constitutional areas of the world, with a population Lions membership of around 1.4 million, to grow the membership in their own clubs? Is it possible for any individual, or just about 4 or 5 individuals, or even for an entire international board to do it? If you ask me, the answer is no. So how does it happen? Or how would it happen in MD201 and across the world? I've thought about it, and I find a very simple solution to it. Let's forget the rest of the world. Let's forget all the other clubs. There are only 2 clubs that are important in this entire process. If we can set 2 clubs right, the remaining 49,998 clubs will be set right on its own. We need to focus on just 2 clubs. And those 2 clubs are your home club and my home club. You take care of your home club, I take care of my home club. We spread this message across the world of Lions, across MD201, in every district, in every zone, in every region. That's how we can make it happen. It's not a team of governors only. It's not the GAT team. It's not a few individuals. It's a question of working at the club level. And at the club level also, there are only 2 individuals who are most important. If you ask me, who are the most important 2 individuals in this organization? I would say, some of you might say the international president or the LCIF chair or anyone like that are the most important 2 individuals in this organization. But I would beg to differ. The 2 most important individuals in this organization are, one is you and the second is me. If you discharge your duties and responsibilities of a good lion, and if I discharge those duties and responsibilities, I understand my obligations of what a good lion is expected to do, everything can be taken care of. Every lion must understand one's own duties, responsibilities, and obligations. If we do it this way, it's going to be pretty simple. When we talk of membership, when we talk of growing our association, it's not about growing for numbers alone. Numbers may give us the pride, but numbers is not the purpose. The purpose essentially is service. Service to our communities. Since morning, since the past few days, especially the last 2 days, visiting the booths in that center where you had put up, in providing information about the various service projects, the presentations that were made this morning. I mean, one is so touched, one is so impressed with the kind of work that's been done by the Lions in this great multiple district. You're doing great work. You need to be complimented. You need to be congratulated. There are so many things that you are doing that we are learning. Perhaps we will carry that message to other parts of the world. Others could learn from you as well. But the important question is, who performs that service? Who delivers that service? That service is delivered by the Lions and the Lions alone. There is only one level. There is only one level in this entire organization where service delivery takes place. There may be an international board where we may talk of all the policies globally. There may be discussions at the area forums. There may be discussions at the council meetings. There may be discussions at the cabinet meetings. There may be discussions at the zone chairpersons and the region chairpersons meeting. But the service delivery takes place only and only at one level, and that's the club level. And the service delivery takes place only through one category of service deliverers or service agents, and they are the Lion members. That's you and me. If this service delivery process has to continue, and if the service delivery process has to be strengthened and made more robust, if we have to expand our horizon of service, if we have to add more to it to make this world slightly better than what we have inherited, to make sure that we leave it slightly more secure, slightly more safer, slightly more better for our future generations than what we got from the previous generations. That's an unwritten responsibility of every human being on this planet Earth. If that's going to happen, then we need to strengthen the clubs. We need more friends. We need more like-minded individuals in our organization. Every new lion, every additional lion who joins us is not just a number, is an individual with one's thoughts, visions, hopes, aspirations, contacts, way of thinking. That individual brings so much to our organization. Every time we talk of a new club is not just one more addition of a club to the aggregate of clubs in a district or in a multiple district or across the world. It is one more delivery service entity which is being established. Look at the kind of service that clubs have been doing. Look at your own home club. If you are proud of that home club, and that's why you wear this Lions lapel pin, that's where I wear this Lions lapel pin, whereby we declare to the entire world that not only are we citizens of our countries, but we are responsible citizens of our countries. There's a difference between being a citizen of a country and a responsible citizen of a country. A responsible citizen is one whose care and concern is not limited to one's biological families, whose care and concern goes beyond the biological families. My dear friends, here in this country of Australia, what a wonderful country this is. I mean, look at the kind of landmass you have, the resources there you have, your wonderful government, your systems that work. I must tell you that the entire world is not like this. And yet the entire world is connected. If COVID has taught us one thing, it's taught us that our futures are connected. We cannot live in isolation. As human beings, we are interdependent. And in other parts of the world, you are blessed and your children and grandchildren are blessed. You have no idea what poverty is, what death by starvation is, what lack of education means, what lack of medical facilities to mothers who deliver maybe in shanties or under what we may call the flyover bridges in many parts of the world, who deliver babies there, no prenatal or postnatal care. What that means, we really do not know. And yet, my dear friends, just think to yourself, and I often think to myself, what is it that I have done to deserve a much safer, secure life? What is it that my children, or your grandchildren have done to deserve all the luxuries and the safeties and the securities of the homes where they have been born? Just try and imagine the very moment when a child would have been born in your family, at that very moment, perhaps there would have been another child born in some other part of the world, maybe in a much more impoverished part of Africa, somewhere in South Asia, could have been any other part of the world. When the child is born, if a child is born in your family, in your country, the child is born with safety, security, national security, health security, all 100% guaranteed to that child. And when the child is born in another part of the world, there is no such safety and security guaranteed to that child. What is the fault of that child? What has that child done wrong? That child's just been born a few seconds ago, but has no such home, no safety, no security, no national security, no health systems, no education systems. Such is life. This is what Warren Buffett calls that there are some in the world like you, maybe like me and our families, who are winners of the so-called ovarian lotteries. We are born with that great, with that great benefit that accrues to us at our birth itself. And since we are born that way, there is something that we owe. We owe a debt to our communities. We owe a debt to the entire human civilization. We owe a debt to making this world better. And we discharge that debt. There could be various platforms of discharging that debt, but one such great platform of discharging that debt is Lions International. Is your club, my club, your district, my district, your multiple district, my multiple district, all of us together. This is such a wonderful organization that brings us together, that helps us to build relationships across the world, which otherwise would never have been possible. I would never have had the opportunity to work so closely and be influenced and to learn from an individual like PIP Barry, to have worked closely with PID Tony, and so many of your other Australian directors who have served on the international board, and so many of you whom I have met at various forums in different parts of the world. Our organization gives us this great opportunity. My friends, we have this great opportunity. We have been serving. Maybe in our way that we extend our service, the way we move in our clubs, the way we organize our meetings, the way we do things in our clubs, maybe that may need to be changed. We need to be introspecting. We need to look within ourselves if what we have been doing in the last 30, 40, 50 years, and that's been successful, whether that would be successful in the next 20, 30, 40 years as well. What got us here, will it essentially help us sustain and will help us go forward as well? Or do we really need to change? In this respect, my friends, let me quote to you, or let me bring to you an example of a game that Australians love and Indians love, the game of cricket. Let me also tell you that a few weeks ago, I was in the UK. The guys there still think that they are the center of the game of cricket. I didn't even want to impress them. I mean, if some people want to live in illusion, what do? You can't help it. Now, in this game of cricket, my friends, a game which you love, which in my country, India, is almost a religion, where millions follow this game was almost dying a couple of decades ago. When the 5-day test matches were still the way this game was played at the international level, and our stadia were beginning to get all empty. At the end of 5-day matches, nobody was sure whether there would be a result or yet no result. Everybody was breaking their heads about what could be done to save this such a wonderful game, the game of cricket. And then came a person who had actually never played cricket before. But that person was, I would say, the marketing guru. That person knew to package or repackage the game of cricket. And I'm talking of Kerry Packer. When that individual came, he said, we'll not play for 5 days, we'll play just for 1 day. We'll not play in the mornings, we'll play in the evenings. We'll play under floodlights, we'll not play in white clothes, we'll play in the colored clothes. We'll not play with the red ball, we'll play with the white ball. We'll not leave it just to be that ultimate gentleman's game, but we'll have cheerleaders all around. And everybody said, he's converting cricket into a circus. It was at that point of time when the national boards across the world said anybody associating with the Kerry Packers team would be out of the national teams. The boards in Australia did it, the boards in India did it, the boards in West Indies did it, across the world. But it took only 2 or 3 years for the boards to step back and accept that this model was the evolving model. From the 60-over version of cricket, we went on to the 50-over version. We are now into the 20-over version of the matches, the international matches. We are still playing cricket, but it's done in 20 overs. There's so much of entertainment. There's a result which is ensured. There's so much of power behind it. There is so much of funding that the industry has provided. There's so much of international mixing available. There's so much more excitement that has come back to the game of cricket. There's so much more competitiveness that has been restored. More nations are becoming cricket-playing nations. And the game of cricket has a new lease of life. It's one of the most sought-after games once again across the entire world. All it needed was a repackaging. We are the same organization. We serve. We are proud of what we have been doing. You are proud of what you have been doing in your district, in your club, in this multiple district, in this great country. But you have to think, what is it that's got to be done differently in your club, in your district? To grow to that 30,000 and to grow to that 50,000, you will have to assume personal responsibility. I will have to assume responsibility of growing my club and my district. You have to assume responsibility of at least growing your club. As a responsible, as a good lion who's taken time out to be here at the convention, we need to translate that and demonstrate leadership through action, and that we are really good lions by actually ensuring that our clubs become stronger. In doing that, there could be various ways of approaching things, and some ways could be new ways of looking at things. Totally new ways that we've not looked at it earlier. And let's take an example. Can you tell me who's the captain of the Australian cricket team? Can you tell me? Somebody? Pat Cummins. Okay. Now, when I ask you this question, and this is what I've done in my multiple district in my country, I did it in UK as well and got a similar answer. You've given Pat Cummins, the guys gave name of their national captain. The guys in my country gave the name of Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli at the relevant time whenever this question was asked. But that's the whole issue. That's the whole issue. We need a more different and a modern mindset. If you say Pat Cummins is the captain of the Australian cricket team, my question to you is, what wrong has Meg Lanning done? My next question to you also is, what wrong has Cooper Connolly done? He's the captain of your under-19 cricket team. The game of cricket has changed. The women's cricket teams are winning and playing as well as the men's cricket teams. They are entertaining, they are as stronger as the men's cricket team. And the under-19 tournaments around the world are becoming a breeding ground of some of the greatest players and greatest talent in this game across the entire world, from where the players get entry into the national squads. At least the Indian under-19 squad throws up at least 3 to 4 individuals whose names otherwise have not even been heard of, but they find their place directly into the senior Indian cricket team, and they perform to be one of the greatest players there. Virat, Rohit, all are products of the under-19 development of cricket there. So when we talk of the game, who the captain is, we are focused. We've always thought of the men's cricket team only, but there is the women's cricket team and there is an under-19 cricket team. We need to open our vision there. Similarly, when we work in our clubs, and when you work to grow your clubs and make the clubs stronger, and once again, I repeat, please be very clear when we talk of growing membership, it's not because of numbers, it's because of a much deeper reason that service delivery can be made more robust, and service delivery can be ensured for the future only if we have newer and younger members. You and I may love this organization, may love all our projects, but we are all temporary. We are all vanishing, going to vanish someday or the other. We are not permanent on this planet Earth. Our membership needs to be replaced, needs to be replenished with the next generation, to which we must hand over the baton and hand it over in a proper manner. That is the purpose of growing the membership. That is the purpose of growing the association. That is the purpose of making our association strong. My dear friends, here in Australia, you, as I said, have already the dream. All that you have to do is to follow your dream. If you can follow your dream, then I would say that together we can. Together we can grow. You can be the example. You can be the role model for the rest of the world. Council Chairman, is he here? Can I see him? Okay. Then, Council Chairperson, you've given great leadership to this Council of Governors, produced this great document, this great commitment. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for everything that you have done, including giving me an opportunity to come to your convention. It's still a convention, isn't it? It hasn't become a conference. Okay. I'll give you a secret. In my multiple district, all sub-district conventions are not called conventions, they're called conferences. But no, you haven't heard me complete. I said but the multiple district event is called a convention. Now, why it's called even I don't know, but we've got to think about it. I've been talking to PID Sangeeta. We need to apply. We have both conferences and convention there. So we've maybe made peace with it before the question arose. But thank you, Council Chairperson, for everything that you have done. Thank you for that invitation. Thank you, Past President Barry. Thank you, my friends. Thank you, PID Tony, and all of you for your friendship, for your hospitality, and for everything that you are doing in this great organization. I think the red flower is still not here. I'm within time. I wish you all the best, and I hope our paths will continue to cross in future. We will continue to meet and we will all meet as proud lions of our great clubs of this wonderful organization. Thank you.
Hello. Third Vice President, if I could please get you to wait up here. And could I ask past International Director Sangeeta to please come up as well? Can I say it has been truly an honour to have Third Vice President Singh and past International Director Sangeeta with us over the last, you've been here now about 5 days, 4 days, 5? It has been an absolute privilege to talk to them, to listen to them, to get some great insights. And I think what we've just heard about is, number one, that we are at the forefront, wishing to grow this well, not only past District Governor Randall will hit me for saying wishing to grow, we will grow. And now International have decided that we're on the right track, and they are going to do the same thing, which I think is a great recognition of what we have done. But also the message that you just gave us, Vice President Singh, in that we must change. We must continue to change. We must evolve. Our communities aren't the same as they were when they were chartered, when our clubs were chartered. They have changed. So we must change, or else our clubs have no place. And it is great to hear that, you know, support from people like yourself of that change. So I'd like to very much thank you for making the trip out here, coming to be with us, coming to speak with us. We have some gifts for you. And hopefully it will appear on stage in a minute. So on behalf of Multiple District 201, we'd like to present you with this local Aboriginal work. This was done by William from Gunai Kurnai tribe in Victoria, which is where I am from. William's grandmother is from Darwin. His grandfather was from Gunai Kurnai tribe, as I say, we're in Gippsland, where I'm from. And his mother and father lived in and around Gippsland, where he grew up. He's been painting stories from the region for over 16 years and is a strong supporter of Aboriginal tradition. William endeavours to capture the essence of the tradition of all his paintings, and this is an important feature of his works. So on behalf of Multiple District 201, thank you. Please accept this gift. Thank you. This is one of the revisions that has been made to the party. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us, and hope to see you again. Thank you. Another round.
Thank you very much, Council Chair Steve. As you're aware, International Director Tim Irvine can't be with us today. He's attending the MD 202 convention. So it gives me great pleasure. He's done what we do these days, and he's been able to make a video for us and send it in with the the information he'd like to get across to this multiple districts convention. So if I could you please run the video?
Council Chair Stu, Vice President Singh, Past President Barry, Past Directors Tony and Ken, distinguished Lions, Leos and guests. Greetings to all of my friends in Multiple District 201. As many of you are aware, I cannot be with you this weekend because I'm attending the New Zealand Convention in Invercargill as the international representative. You have my good friend and board associate, Vice President AP Singh, as your international guest to outline International President Brian's message and that of the board. I'm certain you'll find him a most motivating speaker, and I encourage you to take the time to introduce yourself to Vice President Singh and tell him the things that excite you about Lions. During the past 10 months, I've had the opportunity to travel around both our multiple district as well as New Zealand, Indonesia, and the islands of the South Pacific, and I have been inspired by all that I've seen. The thing that never ceases to impress me is the pride and the passion that each of you have in your own projects. No matter how small or how grand the individual project is, the passion is always there. Even if it's just assisting one person, giving them hope and joy, then you have made a difference to them and potentially changed their lives forever. Each time someone invites me to see their wonderful projects, I am reminded of that song, Everyday Heroes, because Lions are heroes every day. This year, our international president has asked us to focus on 4 global priorities. Share the joy of being a lion. Think big when we serve. Keep our foundation strong and be a local advocate in our community. I'm not going to go into much detail on these because I'm sure that Vice President Singh will cover them in his own way, but I would like to touch on a few. We all join Lions for different reasons, but I think it can be summed up with a simple statement: to make a difference. You all love Lions. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. I know that each of you gets great joy from what you do as a Lion. If you get so much joy from your participation, then why not share that joy with others? There are 2 main ways we can share that joy. One is to invite new members into your club. The other is by the formation of new clubs. I'm really excited that your Council of Governors have been courageous this year and made a very bold move. They have agreed on a big, audacious mission of 30-30 to have 30,000 Lions members by the year 2030 and 50,000 by the year 2050. That is indeed an ambitious target, but one which is achievable. But if it's only a dream, then we'll not succeed. It needs to have a bold plan to support it. And every member of our multiple district must support and be a part of that plan. I'm sure you're going to hear a lot more about the big, audacious mission this weekend and beyond as the plan is put into action. A big part of that plan will be around the formation of new clubs. I believe the greatest opportunity for us is in the formation of specialty clubs with a common purpose. And last week, I had the privilege of presenting the charter certificate to the Western Australia Multicultural Lions Club, a club with 33 members from approximately 12 different national backgrounds. It's such an exciting concept and opens up new opportunities for Lions service that our traditional clubs are not focusing on. In this current year, almost half the new clubs formed worldwide have been specialty clubs. This is our greatest opportunity to take Lions to new markets and become involved in and expand our service activities. And this is why we talk about and promote increased membership, so that we can provide more service and look to new and different needs in our community. President Bryan also asked us that we think big with our service. Look for opportunities to take on bigger, more impactful service projects. We can partner with other clubs, or we can form partnerships and strategic alliances with other organisations. In the business world, there is a strong movement for companies to become more aware and active in their corporate social responsibility. And Lions International has created some important strategic alliances with some large corporates. You can do that also in your own communities, through local business, through local government, and through other like-minded not-for-profits. Our Lions Clubs International Foundation is growing rapidly in its influence and impact worldwide. We recently completed Campaign 100 to raise US dollars 100 million each year for 3 years. We did it. With your help, we raised $324.6 million. That's an outstanding effort, and a very big thank you for all of your efforts. But we cannot sit back now and say, job done. The need is there just as much as ever. Just consider recent events: floods across eastern and northern Australia, cyclone and floods in New Zealand, regular catastrophic fires and other disaster events worldwide, the earthquake in Turkey and Syria, and of course, the tragic events in the Ukraine. Funds are always needed. I'm really pleased to advise that this year, Constitutional Area 7 leads the way in donations against their budgeted target. We are currently 125% of our target, compared to the world total, which is 93%. And Bowlerable District 201 has achieved 105% of its target and still increasing. Thank you, Lions at MD 201. With the recent floods across Australia, we have been able to receive considerable funds from our foundation to help those affected rebuild their lives. Through our foundation, we have initiated a unique program called Adopt a Family, which I'm certain past President Barry will outline in some detail. Our International President's final global priority is for Lions to become advocates for their community. We have a strong voice. We are respected in our communities. We need to be advocating for the needs of our community, and we need to be telling our stories. You have some amazing stories. Tell them. Tell the public, not just ourselves. Use local media, the press, radio, and social media. For those of you that follow me on Facebook, you'll see that wherever I go and I see those amazing projects, I post it on Facebook. That's my way of getting your stories out there into the public arena. You also need to be publicising your stories using whatever means you can. And don't just tell it once. Use more than one form of media and repeat it and refresh your stories. There's an interesting saying about the satisfaction one receives from volunteering. Volunteering and wetting your pants have two things in common. Everyone sees you do it, but only you get the warm feeling. But the truth is there's so much more benefit than just the warm feeling. To know you have made a difference to another person. Your acts of volunteering could well have changed or even saved the life of another person. That's the sort of warm feeling I like. Lions serve with passion and pride, and I know you all get that warm feeling. Thank you for your continued service to your community, and I wish you all a very enjoyable and a successful convention.
Thank you, International Director Tim. Can I ask Council Chair Steve to come up and to introduce our next guest speaker?
Thank you, MC Mick. Our next guest speaker, I've had the privilege of having here since Wednesday. Both CC Felix and Sylvia. It has been an absolute pleasure to spend time with them both. So Felix Mata Diantara is the Council Chair for Moldwood District 307, Indonesia. Felix joined the Lions Club of Bandung Merdeka 30 years ago as Charter Secretary. He has held many roles and leadership positions within the organisation, from Zone Chair, Region Chair, Moldwood District Leadership Chair to GMT, Youth Exchange, Leo Coordinator, as well as several times faculty member and coordinator for RFDI, RLLI and ALLI workshops. He has been twice District Governor, means he didn't learn from the first time. And first time being in District 307B in 2006-7 during past International President Jimmy Ross, and second time for District 307B2 in 2013-2014 during our own past International President Barry's term. Felix is known for his passion for community service and has been actively involved in various charitable initiatives outside of Lions aimed at improving lives of people in his community. He has worked on projects related to healthcare, education and environmental sustainability, among others, and he has received several awards and recognition for his contributions. In addition to his work with Lions clubs, Felix is also an entrepreneur and has been involved in various business ventures in garments, beverages and consulting over many years. He holds a degree in social economics and management and has used his business acumen to help grow Lions clubs and support their various initiatives. Felix is a widely respected Lion and in clubs and in his community for his leadership skills. His dedication and commitment to service set him apart. He continues to inspire and motivate others to get involved in charitable work and make positive impact in their communities. He has personally sponsored 69 new Lions members, mentored 9 Lions leaders who subsequently became district governors, and has set up a new specialty club consisting of arts. He has received various international president's awards. Felix is a Bintoro, Mushudi and Melvin Jones Fellow. He has passion for table tennis. He also swims and plays tennis regularly. He and his wife Sylvia, who is a charter member of Lions Club of Bandung Liberty 18 years ago, live in Bandung together with their 2 daughters, Karen and Claretta. His eldest son, Carl, lives in sunny Brisbane. He is a proud grandpa of 6 talented young kids from his 3 children. Please make welcome CC Felix from Moldwood District 307.
It was an amazing speech, inspiring speech, and encouraging speech we heard from the Vice President everything. Give a big hand again. Wow. We heard that President said, according to a global landscape, I come here to be invited. Greeting to MD201, Council Chairperson, Steve Boyce, Third Vice International President, Arvinder Pal Singh, Past International President, Barry Palmer, who was my mentor an international president when I was a district governor 2013 to 2014. I also want to acknowledge GAT CA7 leader, PID Tony Bembo, PID Sangita, as well as Rob Osman, helped me many connect with me. All the PCCs, district governors, council chairperson elect Win Pang, district governor elects, PDGs, and fellow lions. Good day. First of all, I want to express my gratitude for the invitation extended to Sylvia and me to join your council meeting and convention. I have gained many experiences and learned a lot from all of you, especially from the interesting presentations of keynote speakers. Of course, I was also encouraged by the words of Third Vice International President A.P. Singh. And I will share everything I learned with my fellow lions in Indonesia. I would also like to extend my special thanks to lions in Australia, and particularly late James McLeody from Lions Club Sydney Central, whom 53 years ago came and met with some people in Indonesia and sponsored our first Lions Club Indonesia. To this date, we always celebrate Indonesia Lions Day on November 18, marking the date for which our first Lions Club was chartered. Lions in Indonesia has a long history and tight friendship with Lions Australia. And this is why we are both in the same Constitution, Area 7. Although geographically, Indonesia is closer to Southeast Asia. We need to strengthen our relationship, perhaps through the youth exchange or club training. If someday there are interests in club training between clubs in Australia and Indonesia, please kindly reach out. It would be fabulous if clubs between our two multiple districts can connect and form brotherhood or sisterhood in this way. I admire Lion Australia, even though your population is only 27 million. You have over 20,500 members in more than 1,150 clubs, spread across 18 districts, serving the communities. In contrast, Indonesia with 10 times of population of more than 260 million, multiple district 307, only 1,200 members in 388 clubs spread across 4 districts, serving the entire more than 17,000 islands. However, I'm happy that the date multiple district 307 membership growth, net gain nearly 1,000. It is 948 net gain membership. And we have also net increase of 16 clubs to date, representing a growth of 4%. Indonesia income per capita is only US dollar 4,000. And despite the pandemic, our economic growth is 5.2%. We are proud that this year, multiple districts is able to fundraise for LCIF in the amount US dollar 429,611, which is 169% above the target of international. I still remember when I was the first time appointed as a council chairperson. The Lions Club International Foundation, LCIF, CA7 leader in Indonesia, she asked me, how many targets you want to put it? I said, just 80%, 80%. But nowadays, we can reach 169%. So this time, I think very happy and very happy maybe. I see you. Today, you are slimmer than before. Indonesia has a tremendous potential for growth. Its membership and service activities. With 10% of the 200 million population has access to computers, and which 1% would be in the highest strata of good social economic standing, that means 25,000 or to 26,000 should potentially be a Lion member. Although this seems a big challenge, more than doubling current membership, but it is possible, and we have set our dream on this number. I follow your dream, very. I remember that when your slogan, when you were president, your slogan is follow your dream. This time I will follow your dream. We will need to work hard and achieve this dream. We will also need help and support. One of the things we see as being helpful is languages. Our language. Lions Club International website currently has 13 international languages, of which Indonesian language or Bahasa is not one of them. With 26 million Indonesian computer interest user and cyber world, is it easy to understand why not being able to access, understand, to see the good thing Lions Worldwide is doing is its handicap, if not hindrance and escalations grow in Indonesia. So we have handicap in the language. Someday, International wrote an email. They say 14 people from Indonesia want to join the Lions Club, and then we call the DC governor, said, and then one by one to call it, but the difference understand. They don't know. They don't understand what they saw the website. So it's very important for us. If we want to increase, we want to faster increase our membership. We want to know what is Lion, and I hope it's in this time. Of course, editing another official international languages, I know it is costly. However, we believe the benefit will eventually outweigh the investment, and this end, multiple districts will prepare a formal proposal to seek the addition of Indonesian languages on LCI website. We are confident that this would pave the way for membership to double and reach to 25,000 within 5 years. Are you happy if your Alliance of Indonesia grow with to 25,000? This is the dream of MDO7. And we sincerely hope that with the presence of the third Vice International President, A.P. Singh, in this convention, we support and endorse our proposal of adding Indonesian language to LCI website at the next international board meeting. Somebody once told me, if you dream alone, it is just a dream. But you can dream together, then it will be a reality. Lastly, on the very nice occasion, I would like to congratulate to all district governors elect for the 2023-2024 and council chairperson elect Win Peng. Good luck and wish you all the best. I would like to share some activity throughout the short video clips. I hope you will like it. And before that, may I give some small souvenir to the 5 person. It is Convention Chairperson, PCC David McKenzie. Is he here? Yeah, it's coming. This is not for you all. David, yeah. Thank you, David. You arrange the convention with the And then, Council Chairperson, Steve Boyce. The third Vice International President, Evander Pal Singh. I think you don't know the full name. I searched in international. Yeah, is it right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, good. Then my mentor, my president, past international president, Barry Barber. Thank you, my mentor.
Thank you. Doing well.
Yeah. Global Action Team, Constitution Area 7, past International Director, Tony Bembo. He was my same years of DC governor, right, Tony? 2006 and 2007, it was the president was Jimmy Ross. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Before I share our activity, MDT07 activity, I would like let you sing an Indonesian song, a small Indonesian song. Okay, you know, this right? Lions Club, siapa yang punya? Okay. Lions Club, siapa yang punya? 3 times, yeah? That's mean, Lions Club is belong to whom? Siapa yang punya? Belongs to whom? 3 times. And then the last, yang punya kita semua is belong to our all. Okay? Okay. Lions Club, siapa yang punya? Lions Club, siapa yang punya? Lions Club, siapa yang punya? Yang punya kita semua. Once more time. Lions Club, siapa yang punya? Lions Club, siapa yang punya? Lions Club, siapa yang punya? Yang punya kita semua. Give a big hand. Okay, before I go, I would like to share some activities of MD307 Indonesia through a short video clips. I hope you will like it.
There's a place, your heart, and I know that it is love. It's a place much brighter than tomorrow. You may try to find there's no need to cry. This place, there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little space. Make it a better place. For you, for me, I can embrace everybody. Make a better place for you, for me. Know why? There's a love that cannot lie. The strong, he cares for joyful giving. We try, we shall see. This bliss we cannot feel. Stop existing and start living. It's nothing like always growing. You were here there. See where we're gonna join. We're gonna shine. It's by its soul. It's plain to see this losing. So high, and our spirits never die. Feel you all through my bones.
Thank you. Thank you all. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Could I ask Council Chair Steve to come up and give those thanks?
Could I ask Sylvia, please come up as well. Thank you. Well, another amazing presentation from CC Felix, and just showing the great work that not only do we do here in Australia, but as Lions, but we are a truly worldwide organisation. And you look at work that is being done all around the world, and it shows the true impact of what we can do, one club at a time, one Lion at a time. And it's been a pleasure to have CC Felix and Sylvia here with us. And I know certainly Karen and I have thoroughly enjoyed their company. And big thank you for travelling over here and being part of this. It is a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to heading over to Indonesia. Yeah. Karen and I fly out on the I think the 16th of May. I keep working. I don't know which day it is, but anyway, the phone will tell me which day I've got to fly. And representing us over, everyone here over in Medan for their MD 307 convention. So thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your friendship, and a big thank you for everything that you do for Lions in your community and in your country. Thank you. So first we have our collector, our little collector thing.
Yeah.
That is my banneret.
Yes.
CC Felix, on behalf of Model District 201, thank you for visiting us. Thank you for all your great words. I know we're running ahead of our price. Thank you very much. It's a small gift of us. Thank you. And Sylvia, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Another round of applause. Thank you.
You may have noticed when we were singing that I was standing back there so you couldn't hear me sing, otherwise there would have been problems. Okay, just a couple of announcements before we we have a quick break. During the CABSEC Treasurers' Lunch today, they raised $600 through fines and DGs and others. So would have been interesting to be there and hear what they were. The CABSECs will donate the money to the Coin Line project, raising funds for the Australian Lions Childhood Cancer Research Foundation. Now, for those about the function tonight, is doors open at 6:30, meals at 7:30, and 7:40 you leave. No, 6:30, doors open, 7:30 is the first meal served. Also, the dress is neat, casual, or with a nautical theme, or dress up if you wish. So if you have costumes, by all means, wear them. Okay, we are running a little bit behind, so what I will ask, we'll have a short 10 minutes. If you need to go and use the loos, please use the loos, come back, and then we'll get into the last segment of the afternoon. So back here, ready to go at 3:30. Thank you.
I'm coming home, I'm coming back down tonight. Cause I've been hypnotized in this. But I'm coming home, I'm coming back tonight. Yeah, it's time to realize. But I'm coming home, I'm coming back tonight. I'm coming home, I'm coming back tonight. I'm coming home, I'm coming back tonight. Free falling. I'm fine. I'm coming home, I'm coming back tonight. Cause I've been hypnotized in this. But I'm coming home, I'm coming back tonight. Yeah, it's time to realize. But I'm coming home, I'm coming back tonight. I'm coming home, I'm coming back tonight. I'm coming home, I'm coming back tonight.
You got me locked into your station. I need you near. The blue is heartache on vacation. All the pain went away when I thought of you in my life. Telling me all the things that you want to do and that you like. I've been trying to find a way I wanted you to know that I'm moving forward with intention. So this what the way I'm thinking, even from you stay. You need to find my dedication.